Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for a very special webinar on the ROI and power of process automation for manufacturers, presented by Michael May, the quality engineer for Cornet Technologies. We're excited to have Michael join us today. Before we get started, I wanted to review a couple housekeeping items. We will be or are recording this session, so it will be available for you on our website in the days to come, so you can view it again or even share it with some colleagues. And also, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to enter them in the QA section of the Zoom application, and we'll be sure to answer them at the end of the presentation. My name is Kayla Rux, and I'm an account executive here at Qualtrax. We have a mix of attendees on the phone today, so before I introduce Michael, I'm going to quickly go over a little bit of information about Qualtrax to give you some background before we dive into the presentation. Qualtrax is an all-in-one compliance management solution, providing our customers with quality management software on a single platform to handle all your documents, your processes, and accreditations. We pair that software along with our team commitment to our customers and the industries that they serve. Qualtrax itself is a 9001 certified organization, and we recently completed an audit earlier this year. We celebrated our 25th anniversary last year and really continue to enjoy working with our customers and the various types of compliance burdens they're under. We have a 97% customer renewal rate, and we're told this is because of the software we create, but also the people here at Qualtrax to support, consult, and assist our customers. We have a very strong culture of teamwork here at Qualtrax and truly love what we do. And finally, Qualtrax is headquartered in Blacksburg, Virginia, just off the campus of Virginia Tech. Now a quick look at 4 specific ways in which our software really does support organizations. Document management, making sure all of your documents are in one location, easily accessible to users, really controlling the full document lifecycle for process of anywhere from editing to reviewing to the publishing of your documents. Another area of the product that Michael's really going to focus on today is workflows. Workflows are a way to consistently manage your processes across your organization through automation. Think of corrective actions or customer complaints, management review, equipment verification, and much, much more. All of this information can be automated and tracked right within the Qualtrax system. Testing and training is an automated way to track employee competency, awareness, and acknowledgement. And finally, reporting. All of this sits on top of a reportable platform, so you have visibility into your data that you're collecting and can run reports providing you information to make sure that you're prepared for your audits. For example, running a gap analysis report or seeing the status of a document within the system. All of that can be done with a click of a button. Now, please join me in welcoming Michael May. Michael is a quality engineer for Cornet Technology and has recently completed his certification for Six Sigma Master Black Belt. When Michael was 17, he enlisted in the U.S. Army as part of the infantry, where he served for 10 years. The robust knowledge of process that he gained in the military served Michael well when he transitioned into a career within quality. As a quality engineer for Cornet Technology, he's now ensuring the quality of the products that he once used as a soldier, which Michael sees, and I'll say, as he quote him and say, an opportunity to continue to serve just off of the battlefield. Now I'll hand it over to Michael for his presentation. Michael?
Yes, thank you, Kayla, and welcome everybody, the participants here. It looks like we've got quite a few, so that's cool. And thank you again, Kayla, for the opportunity to kind of share what our company has been able to do with the workflow section of Qualtrax. Share my screen. Just to reiterate on what Kayla just said, I want to sort of give a little context of the organization that I work in. Again, I work for Cornet Technology Incorporated. We're an OEM, an original equipment manufacturer, and our customer base is primarily DoD military type applications. We manufacture from concept to design through to shipping products such as communication devices. We've got some products that we use, some of the special forces use overseas. So complex processes involved when you're talking about design. We're based here in Springfield. However, we do have a UK based company and an India based company. And I'll get more into that a little later as far as being able to communicate with subsidiary companies of your own within Qualtrax. And we've been Qualtrax customers for 10 plus years now, so that speaks to the data set of 97% customer retainment that Qualtrax has. So we have been satisfied customers for 10 plus years now. With that, we'll get started. So a quick overview or some basic some key takeaways that I hope to communicate in this webinar is first defining a workflow. Believe it or not, there's lots of different definitions and ways to look at how people look at what a workflow is and exactly what it entails. Qualtrax workflows at Cornet, how they pertain to us. Pros and cons, ROI for return of investment for automated workflow processes, and the impact of Qualtrax to your audit results, basically your bottom line, applicable to ISO 9001:2015 companies. So definition, workflow, a dictionary, the sequence of industrial, administrative, or other processes through which a piece of work passes from initiation to completion. And I think this is important here. I want to point out that the industrial or administrative, so not just manufacturing companies can use workflows. Qualtrax and Cornet. Like I said, we've been customers for 10 years. Amy, the president of Qualtrax, came to our facility beginning of last year, and she wanted to see how we were implementing workflow. She thought it was unique, and we were utilizing it in the method that we were utilizing it, and sort of the success that we've had from it. So she came and checked it out for herself, which I thought was really cool. It's not often that the president of your software database system visits your company to get your feedback. But nonetheless, what came of that is she asked if I would do this webinar, and I have no problem sharing. I believe modeling and sharing information is one of the keys to success. So with that, we'll dive right into it. Qualtrax and Cornet Technology. I'm just going to bring up my account, my Qualtrax account. So this is the inbox. When you log in, this is what the user sees, and you can obviously customize this area. We like to put memes, some serious things, and these are set to randomly come up as the user logs in, so they don't get the same sort of a way to get your quality message across in the background as people use the software day to day throughout their job. It's kind of cool. This is one of my favorite things. Okay, so I'm going to, as you saw, as Kayla said, these are the different areas that Qualtrax provides for your quality management system, and we're going to be focusing heavily on the workflow section, as this has been the biggest return on investment for Cornet Technology. And I'm going to focus on one particular process, and that's our RMA process. So just real quick, I'll take you through kind of what this looks like. I have an inbox, and in my inbox I have my document section, and then I have my tasks or current processes or processes that are live, and I can monitor each one at a glance and restore it. Need be, go in, and these are the tasks. Like I said, we're going to focus here on this RMA one. So a little background on RMAs at Cornet. RMA stands for Return Merchandise. Some people call it warranty. It's how your customer gets the product back to you in the event there's an issue with the product or the product needs to be updated. There's multiple reasons why the product gets returned, but the necessity to track the customer's product is ISO required. So in the past, and I say in the past, about 3 years ago, before we automated the RMA process, we were tracking everything similar of how a lot of industries track, especially smaller businesses, using Microsoft Excel or SharePoint or Visio. Everybody had a different way of capturing their part of the RMA process, and where they kept that data generally was on their own PCs. And of course, you know the type of problems that can lead to as far as keeping your customer informed on the progress of the equipment that they have returned to your facility. So like I said, in the past, the process was pretty much run by paper procedures and paper forms, submitting of paper forms, lots and lots of emails, lots and lots of phone calls to sort of orchestrate each RMA as it came and left our facility. And in looking into this process, we discovered, okay, we got a lot of waste here. And so we had Qualtrax 3 years ago came to our facility and trained us on this particular tab. Now we were already using, like I said, we were a customer for 10 plus years. And when we got Qualtrax, it was to satisfy a lot of the document portion of the ISO standard. So record retention, revision, and approval record, so on and so forth. And that's pretty much what we used it for. And great job, but I've made the comparison before. We had this Lamborghini, so to speak, parked in the garage, and we would go out, turn the headlights on, and start it up, and yeah, it's good. Lamborghini. Never really drove it, and the parallel I'm going for here is the workflow is sort of the way that Cornet uses Qualtrax. The workflow section is sort of the engine, or where all the power is behind this software. And so first step, we had Qualtrax come back in and train us. And I think Deanna was on site here for 2 days of training, 2 8-hour days. And when she left, I had full confidence that Cornet Technology would have to start using the workflow functionality for some of the processes here. And we started with the RMA process as the most waste was identified here. So with that being said, let's open up an RMA. And I can give you a kind of behind the scenes look. Basically, the workflow is designed to follow a process that hopefully is already in place. You kind of need to map out what your process consists of, or currently, sort of your baseline product. How are you currently processing RMAs? Once you get that on paper, and it looks similar to this, I do have a, so here's our RMA process. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so that's a basic flow chart, hence workflow. So the product here is the customer's product. It comes in through customer complaint. It can come in through these other two avenues as well, and kind of follow this. This is what all needed to happen for the successful completion of processing the customer's returned product. You got to map it out first. If you don't map it out before you start automating, you're kind of going to be leaving things out. You want to start as close to the current process that you are currently using. You want to mimic that process as close as you can. So when we process RMAs, our order administrator receives a call, and the method that she receives complaints, sometimes it's an email or a phone call. It's several different methods. At that point, the RMA is in the initiate step. And in the past, once that RMA had been initiated, that was where it stayed. And there was no sort of immediate warning for people that would be tasked with the work involved with this RMA. There was no sort of early warning system. Hey guys, you got an RMA coming. And this step satisfies that part. So order administrator, she logs in to Qualtrax. She opens up a new workflow, like I just did, RMA repair, and she fills out the required fields. So drop-down lists are provided. So Makara does generate all of ours. Date requested today, expedited, as the customer said, hey, really need this back, certain amount of time. That option is shows here. We're going to say no for now. Administrator's responsible. That's for you to do it. And then engineer responsible. So if there's a particular, in our case, this fits the context, of our organization, other personnel that may be responsible. And then the instructions upon arrival. What do you want to happen with this? What do you want the receiving persons to understand? So we're going to say see special instructions. Special instructions. See. Okay. And B. we know that Michael May is the one that provided these special instructions. Personnel is to be notified. These are your collaborators. These are people that need to be in the know. You might have a salesperson that deals with this customer, so on and so forth. You assign those persons here. If not, you leave it blank. And again, it's just like any other web-based form. It's got required steps and steps that aren't required. So if you're having issues collecting all the data that you need, this is a great function of the workflow as well. You can make what used to not be required. So they can't move on to the next step until we get all of this information. I'm going to put here. Oops. And, here, I'm just going to go somewhat fast. Our order admin would be 10 times faster. She's got a rhythm down. So RMA ship to there. Over there. And these aren't required. But as you can see, it's everything that we need to process in RMA, information-wise. Customer contact, you would put their names here, emails, and then your actual process information. So item 1, our part number. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Again, these are required fields. Product description is radio. Serial number 1, 2, 3, 6. And then the customer's complaint or issue goes here. So we're going to put needs. Okay. And then the date that we originally shipped. And any photos that the customer may have provided can be uploaded here. This is a big help for us. RMA type. This is how we, what did we say this was? And customer required repair report. This is billable. To be adjourned. And these are required. Okay, and then the order admin at that point has is in contact with the customer, issues an RMA number, and submits all of this to receiving. So I want to go back to my inbox now and add a quick glance on our RMA repair tracker. You'll see that we have 3 items that are currently in evaluation, 1 that's in shipping, and 1 RMA that I initiated. And it is in the waiting on arrival status. So, and depending on who you need to know or want to know what's coming and when it's expected to arrive, you would add their names and it would appear in their inbox. So that being said, we'll go back to our assignments. So once this has been submitted, Qualtrax assigns it a unique ID. And we are right now in the process of eliminating our old method of giving a number to the customer for tracking purposes. And we're just going to simply give them this number, because now this number is unique to everything that goes, that happens with this product as it comes in and goes through the process. So at this point, as you can see this at the top here, it tells you what the current step is and who needs to process it next. And this is huge. This goes back to the right hand knowing what the left hand is doing. And often in paper processes and processes where we manage on an individual basis the same product, it gets lost whose step it's in. Definitely a risk. This sort of cuts that down. You know who needs to process it, and you know who sent it to them and when. So this was submitted to receiving 227. Now, when the product comes, receiving will receive an email, and also it will appear in their inbox here on Qualtrax, and telling them you have a product that an RMA that has arrived and needs to be received. These are the steps that the person who receives our RMAs need to take. They need to plug in the date. Have all items arrived? Yes, no, waiting on additional. Conditions received, good, damage. These are all sort of the requirements that we have based on some of our customer requirements. Receiving photos, so let's say it came with a gigantic hole in the side of the box and wires hanging out. Those pictures would be uploaded here. Again, valuable data. And the ship by date, extremely important. So what you tell your customer, you're going to get it back to them in. So we always we tell our customers 30 days. We received this today, so it'll be 30 days from now. And anything else receiving thinks needs to be noted goes here. At that point, receiving has a list of the personnel that could be tasked with handling this product. They assign that person here. Let me assign myself. You can also start, when you start typing in these fields, it'll narrow it down for you. Perfect. I love it. And then send to technician. At this point, the technician just got an email, Michael May, and says you have an RMA that needs to be processed. It arrived today, and it gives a little bit of information on the product name. Again, you can pick and choose what your email says or doesn't, how much information it gives. So again, our history, now we have good data for another timestamp for when it was sent to the technician. When did the technician actually begin work? And once the technician picks it up, RMA picked up, this may go on the shelf for 2 or 3 days before the technician has time to pick it up. And being able to track the average time spent on the shelf, those types of waste, the workflow was able to give us all things we could not do when this was a silo process, I guess is what it's called. At this point, the technician is tasked with evaluating, be able to observe, yes. Any undeclared issues? Yeah. Okay. Are all applicable ECN software? And the initial evaluations, so the product is repairable. And any comments that the test technician may have. Any items? No. Okay, and then here they attach the procedure, and I like this functionality because you're not adding possibly an uncontrolled document here. It's only going to allow you to add a procedure that has been controlled in the document section of the software. So you're not sneaking in procedures that aren't the correct revision level, or it keeps everything in-house. And let's see. Procedure. Let me watch my time. What is this one? Okay. And action to be taken. Okay. Because we're in admin mode, you guys are able to see the next step. So once the technician has attached their procedure, they don't see this action to be taken because they're actually going to forward it. Evaluation complete. Once their evaluation is complete, in this particular case, the order admin is getting back with the customer. Another feature that we didn't do very well until we were able to implement workflows is keep our customer informed as the product moved. Similar to Amazon, you know when you ordered it, you know when it was pulled from the warehouse, you know when it was put on a FedEx truck, and you were provided a tracking. You're kind of updated all the way up until you get the email that says, "Hey, it was delivered to your door." We were able to start doing this. So at this point, our order admin is back with the customer. Hey, this is what we found during our evaluation. This is what we recommend. And she then directs the workflow according to the decisions that customers make. So that being said, she says, okay, proceed with repair. No issues. The customer says, go ahead and repair. RMA workflow ID. So another great feature is if you don't hit one of those required fields, it's not going to let you go. Okay. Let's see. RMA workflow ID. RMA workflow ID. Nope, it's 5876. And not everybody's. This is a what you're seeing now. This version of the this workflow is 2.0. When we took this from paper to automated, it was very rigid. There wasn't options. There wasn't drop downs. Because we simply didn't know what all was going on until we were able to capture it and automate it. So she's going to send this on to repair. And at the top, needs to be processed by, goes back to the technician. And anything that the customer has said at this point would be communicated as well in the workflow. Not via email, not via phone call, which we all know sometimes emails don't get read and phones get ignored. Problem found. So this is the next step that the technician takes, along with the final disposition and any comments that the technician may have based on the how the repair steps went. So at this stage, the product has gone through repair, and when it enters the repair process here at Cornet, again, that used to be a paper form. We've now automated the rework process for all rework in-house as a separate workflow. So if I wanted to initiate a rework workflow, I'm not going to, I'm just going to show you. I'm going to go to rework request, manufacturing. That's there. I would simply click on that, fill out the information that it asks me, and forward the product to the rework technician That being said, it gets that rework request gets an ID number, and that ID number goes here. That lets order admin know what additional work was done. Again, was not being processed or captured in the previous process for handling our customers' RMAs. Action to be taken. Okay, again, you're looking at the admin node. So, repairs completed. Hang in there, we're working really hard. Okay, so at this step, now, if we go back to my inbox here, let's do a quick refresh. I can see that the RMA that I initiated is in the final order admin review. I love it. So let's go ahead. And again, needs to be processed by Makara, has all of our timestamps and dates. So at this point, going back to the beginning of the workflow, many of our customers want some sort of documentation surrounding the events of the RMA. What happened? What'd you see? For their records as well. So what we did was to satisfy that section, and that's this part here. That's what I'm getting to. The final order admin, our customer contact, who's staying in contact with the customer, is at this point can view the that report, what it's going to look like to the customers, to our customer, and do any editing if need be at that point. Once she's happy with this repair report and everything that's going on, and maybe talk to the customer again, she will go ahead and ready for shipping. Oh, didn't do the bill too. Who are we gonna bill? I left that blank. Okay, and at this point, the workflow goes back to our test technician who has taken care of it throughout its life here. It is now in the technician verification stage. So at this point, the tech gets all the paperwork associated, shipper, sales order, everything ready, the product, and pushes this over to our final inspection area. In our final inspection area, and as you can see, that repair report has now been generated by the workflow and has been attached to the workflow itself. Okay. This helps our final inspection out. So she knows if the customer has required this or not, so she's going to be looking for it. That being said, when she's done with inspection, all documents and product are ready for inspection. The test technician pushes it to her, and she receives it and fills out the required information needed for inspection. It says who he or she is, and then we're ready to ship. So now this product is in our shipping area. All the information pertaining to the shipping, serial numbers, shipper number, the date shipped it, who shipped it, FedEx, tracking number, and any notes shipping may have. And then all product checked. Okay, so again, you can contact the customer at this moment and say, hey, your product is shipped, here's your tracking number. The sky's the limit when you're using the workflow as far as keeping your customer informed. So now, as you can see, that workflow that we opened is in RMA complete status, which tells me that a repair report has been generated. And as I was saying before, every instance in Qualtrax gets its own unique number. So that number that we had was 58761. It populates sequentially. So 61. Okay. And here's the unique report ID that it's been assigned, 5816. And if we pull that up, this is the form, another function of Qualtrax that is populated with the data that's filled out in the workflow as you complete the workflow. So everything's nice and tidy and ready to be printed at the end of the process, and the customer gets an accurate representation of what the process did. And the benefits we have seen working in this manner, taking a paper process and automating it, have not been incalculable, but the return on investment continuously multiplying as we tweak these processes and use them to our advantage. So I kind of flew through that, but I wanted to show you a workflow that sort of hits all the functions of workflow, assigning people, generating forms. It's pretty much, I'm not going to say unlimited. I don't think Qualtrax appreciate that, but I always tend to think, all right, if somebody says, hey, can the workflow do this? 99% of the time impulsively answer yes, because I've yet to find something that we haven't been able to make work in a workflow. So that being said, I want to kind of start to wrap things up here. Let's go back to Qualtrax workflows. So that's Qualtrax workflows at Cornet Technology. And let's get back to our key takeaways. So pros and cons, the sort of advantages and risks as ISO 2015 requires us to identify. Advantages and risks. Okay, these are some of the advantages that myself and my team came up with: importing, editing, reviews and proposals, publishing, tracking employee metrics and understanding, collecting employee signatures, cost and waste, reduction of paper products. And these are things that if you have a baseline data set to kind of show you how much money you're spending currently on paper, this is a great way to see immediate results as far as return on investment. Cost and waste reduction of time. Again, we all know time is money, especially when it comes to delivering a product on time. And right hand knows what the left hand is doing. Prevents misfiled, misplaced documents and records. In our old paper processes, we struggled with this daily. Paper doesn't always stay on the desk, or always doesn't stay on the file. and sometimes the wrong paper gets thrown away, so on and so forth. Extra time consumed recreating, tracking down data that's valuable data that's captured on this paper. Saves and or eliminates the need for expensive physical storage space. We had rooms and boxes and file cabinets full of paper, RMA data for the last 25 years of our company. Doesn't exist anymore. Makes document essentially available across departments and users simultaneously. Some people will argue, well, we do that with email. We keep everybody in CC'd you. Okay, this brings everybody. So the person you forgot to CC that need to be CC'd will be in that workflow. Eliminates the need and security risk inherent with standard filing cabinets. Makes a huge impact on internal customer service operation. And that, again, goes with the right hand knows what the left hand is doing. Your internal customer or the person that you're feeding your portion of work to is going to receive a product that's or a piece of administration that multiple eyes are viewing at the same time and is 100 times more accurate than, let's say, you're passing paper through. Reminding and insurance compliance, and I say the best for last, reporting, because that's going to lead me to my wrap up here, and that is sort of the ROI, Cornet Technology, and my take on what is the return on investment for purchasing software like Qualtrax that has this workflow capability. It's the reports. So every organization has leaders, and leaders need to make decisions. And a lot of companies, the majority of companies, these leaders base these decisions on the data provided to them through reports. And if you're reporting data that's inaccurate or too vague or doesn't capture everything needed, the decision making within your company will be not as robust as it could be. And just real quickly, and how much time? Let's see, have I?
We have a few more minutes left, Michael.
Okay.
If you wanted to go into that audit report, that would be great.
Yes, that's where I'm headed next. So, like I'm sure many of you are, for me, the proof is, what, at least for our company, being ISO 9001 qualified, what are the certifying bodies saying about, what do they think about how we've handled the documented evidence portion of the ISO standard? And our experience, and I'm using our, this is actually our certification report. We were certified last year. And for the purpose of showing you what external auditors and auditing bodies think about the workflows and how they're utilized, at least how we use them here at Cornet. ISO 9001:2015, the use of workflows with required forms, records, and procedural instructions provide positive control of operations, ensuring appropriate technical information and record forms are available when needed and can be traced back to the individual completing the associating task. It meets every entity of 7.2, it may be beneficial to encourage all supervisor personnel to record the completion of OJT within the Qualtrax training system. So, and this is a different subject, the training portion of Qualtrax is also very good, and we've just started implementing that what the auditor is saying here is we hadn't applied it across all platforms of the company. We're kind of piloting it in certain areas. And he saw that and was basically saying, an opportunity for improvement is you need to go ahead and make this company wide, which we were already in the process of doing it, and we've almost completed now. This is under the planning 3.3. Action planning to achieve quality objectives is deployed effectively, including the need for change, who, when, what, how, resources, evaluation, and results. Actions have been planned to collect data for the assigned objective. The ECN process, which is an automated workflow here at Cornet, with appropriate communication, review, and approvals, is used for controlling change. And of course, we got the compliance. The use of workflows, documented information, a huge portion. This used to scare us prior to this last year, since we started implementing workflows, was our documented information. Is it current? Does it have all the headers on it? Does it have all the dates? Does it have all the footers on it? Is it in the right folder? Having the workflow sort of alleviated all of these issues. The use of workflows with required forms, records, and procedural instructions provide positive control of operations, ensuring appropriate technical information and record forms are available. When needed, it can be traced back to the individual completing the associated task. And that goes back to the portion of the workflow I was showing you at the top, where you can see the history of who dealt with it and when they sent it on to the next step. Completion of RMAs per requirements is recorded within the RMA workflow. So the complaints and improvement proposals are registered and treated effectively. When the customer complaints are received, they are registered and managed in the CAR database. That's Qualtrax. Our CAR database is Qualtrax. It's a workflow. Reports. Every workflow that you create, you have the ability to design a report based on the fields that are inside of that workflow. So all that RMA workflows that I've ran through very, very fast with you guys, each one of those fields were fields that we developed according to our needs in our process. So we added the data that was needed and that we wanted to track. So at a quick glance, if I do, here's an average time for rework. That looks fun. So if I wanted to pull a report on my defects found, how many shorts, and I could have added a date field to this if I wanted to, but whoever created this report obviously didn't want that in there, so I'm not going to mess with it. Defects found. Now I'm going to get a report just that quickly. This is historical data that goes back now 3 years. Just that quickly, I can take these data sets here and export them to Excel and do all my pivot charts and my trend analysis. Again, and the more robust your workflow is, the more robust your reports are, and the better decisions your key leaders will be able to make. And as far as Cornet's RMA process, you get a much more informed and happier customer. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank you guys again for allowing Cornet to kind of showcase what we've done with processes and as far as automating them. And I would encourage any listeners on right now, if you're already a Qualtrax user or looking for a software, that you utilize Qualtrax's workflow section. Like I said, they trained us, and it's good to have a quality guy on deck that's IT savvy, which I am not. I'll tell you right now, I did not build any of those workflows. But it's always good to have that person with that talent or that skill set for the admin when constructing workflows. And every single problem, every single step of the way, and this is my favorite thing about Qualtrax, and then I'll wrap it up with this. We have never had one issue where we did not find a result. Not one. If it couldn't be done, there's been some instances where Qualtrax fire-laned it and reconstructed the software and built it into a release so that it could be done, which is kind of cool too. They flexed to us and have pretty much satisfied every need as far as this software goes. And with that, I'll thank everyone again for coming. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to try and answer.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Michael. We really appreciate you showing us your Qualtrax system. That audit report was very eye-opening. It's always good to see those as well. And feel free to continue to add in questions in the Q&A section of the Zoom meeting. And we'll get to those next. I wanted to, on the screen now, you should be able to see, hopefully, the Qualtrax Users Conference that's coming up. Our registration is open right now. It's starting to fill up quickly, so please feel free to register if you'd like to attend our users conference. This is something that Qualtrax does every 18 months. It's a conference we put on for our customers. It's a way for them to come together and network. They get to have some hands-on training, hear from industry experts, and discuss some best practices, and probably most importantly, have a whole lot of fun. Our theme this year is superhero theme, so I am sure it'll be a great time. Now on to the question and answer section. I had a couple that came in. Michael, you can answer this, or I can as well. You just let me know. The first one is, are you able to report on how many RMAs took place in a time period, like per month or quarterly or annually, within that reporting capability you spoke of?
Sure, absolutely. As long as that that field is a field that you require. Yes, the short answer is absolutely.
Super. And you did kind of show a little bit on the reporting all of the different fields that are available in a workflow can then be reported out of a workflow. So as long as that field's somewhere in that workflow, it can be reported out. Let's see here. Are you able to show details on the actual merchandise the RMA was for? And again, the answer to that is, I guess, the same. Anything that you're putting into that workflow can be reported out. So if you're putting part ID numbers as part of the questions that you're collecting answers for within that workflow, it definitely can be reported out of it. There's a question here that it looks like maybe for me. It says, with the testing you mentioned at the beginning, how do users know that they have a test to complete? Um, So Michael did touch on this a little bit. The Qualtrax system is linked together with your internal email system, whether it's Outlook or Gmail, whatever that internal email system would be. We do connect and link within that. So your end users or your employees would get an actual email that they have a test to complete. And then they'd be able to log into Qualtrax and take that test. And to take it one step further, the management actually can see when that test has been completed as well. So the testing and training portion of Qualtrax is very valuable as well, being able to see who's taken a safety quiz or a safety test or received that new revision of a document and read that. All of that can be verified within that testing and training area. Let's see here. Does Qualtrax come with all of those workflows installed?
No.
No, it does not. So with Qualtrax, when you receive the application, we do have what we call best-in-class workflows. So the software will be automatically populated with 5 different workflows for you. That's just out of the box. And we educate you on how to make those workflows work for you. So making the necessary changes so that they fit into your process. We teach you how to do all of that, which is a little different, Michael, than when you guys first started those 10 years ago. That's something a little bit new with Qualtrax, but we do have those out of the box. And then also, as Michael mentioned, we do have training available so that you yourself can create and put workflows online and use them at your organization. I see we're over time here, so I have a couple other questions that I'll probably reach out to these individuals one-on-one. One of them is about getting another demonstration about the document side of things, and a few other Qualtrax things. So with that, Michael, I want to thank you again for taking time today to show us your Qualtrax application, and also thank the attendees and participants for joining us today to see about the software and how Qualtrax can help you manage those processes electronically.
Okay, thank you as well, Kayla, and thank you everyone for listening.
Definitely. Thanks again. Goodbye.
Bye.